Okay, our next speaker is Mike Kitts. Mike is a local developer. If you spent any time in Hood River, you've seen one of Mike's homes. Since 1992, Mike and his partner Doug Beveridge have built over 450 homes in Hood River, which is roughly 12% of the entire housing stock of Hood River. So please welcome Mike Kitts.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael Kitts. I'm a little self-conscious because I don't have anywhere near as much information as the first two speakers. It might be a blessing for everyone. Plus, I get tongue-tied, so I'm going to have to read a lot of this. I'm not in Sean Spicer territory, but close. So I'm going to be... So bear with me, but I do have some information, and we've made pretty much every mistake we could make in the years we've been building, and we've seen about everything. So we've got a lot of information, and I'd be happy to answer questions. That might be a better format for me after this. So if you live in Hood River, there's a better than 1 in 10 chance that you live in a house that was built by myself or Doug Beveridge. The vast majority of these have been entry-level or affordable. With the average home price now over $500,000, and that's what Trulia and Zillow say now, that their numbers were numbers from 6 months ago maybe. It's becoming more and more difficult to build the homes we would like to. We don't know how to define affordable anymore. If rents are $1,800 a month and the mortgage on one of our $300,000 homes is $1,500, is that affordable? If we sell a home 15% under market value, is that affordable? All we can manage is to do our best to give customers a fair deal and still try to make enough money to make our job worthwhile. But we need land to do what we do. We've had major delays on several projects over the last 3 years, and we believe that is one reason for the current spike in home prices. The Westside Plan has been a factor in some of our delays. We've been aware of the study for over 2 years. It's not new news. While I have a few issues with this plan, it's much preferable to look and plan ahead so developers and landowners have some continuity for the next 20 years. And this is 20 years. It's not going to happen overnight, this development. It's a long time coming. The area in the study has been zoned residential forever. I looked at the zoning before buying our May Street property in 1984. I wasn't here in 83, but I came in 84. And told my wife that someday there would be 20 homes in the pasture next to us. I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened yet. Also, the dirty word of the day, upzoning, is meaningless when you realize that the higher density could be achieved right now through the PUD process, which we make liberal use of. We've done dozens of PUDs. So all the Westside plan, all the Westside area and the study area could be probably higher density if we PUD'd that whole area or did it in piecemeal. But I'd rather see it the transportation work better and the roads and the continuity work better. So I think what they're doing is the right thing. As developers, we're responsible for all the infrastructure, roads, sidewalks, parks, streetlights, everything. That's one of many reasons home prices are so high. We're not subsidized with any public resources. Doing what we do is challenging and frustrating, but also rewarding. It's nerve-wracking to tie up money, waiting for project approval, hoping the economy holds, being financially tied to a project. We may not see a return for years. There are several ways to help ease the housing crunch besides new neighborhoods and roads. Infill is a good option for many areas of town. South of May Street in the Heights are many oversized lots that can accommodate up to 4 or more houses, where there's now just one. This would quadruple revenue to the city and schools if you replaced 4 houses on one. I've got pictures to show what we've done in the Heights. We've done this in several different locations. The ADU ordinance should be made more enticing for homeowners to look at as rentals, or how about tiny homes in people's backyards. These are other ways that I think a lot of the pressure from the lack of rentals can be alleviated without having to go out and develop. I'm an advocate of developing, but it all has to, I think there's many solutions, and they should all be looked at and used. The city can help make this happen. Also, the county has yet to adopt the ADU ordinance for some reason. It's been around for 10 or 20 years, and the county has not adopted it, so you can't put an ADU outside the city limits in the urban growth area for some reason. that would help as well. There's huge parcels out there that people have, 2-acre parcels, 2.5-acre parcels, and there's no reason they can't put an ADU on it except they haven't adopted the ADU ordinance yet. Accessory dwelling unit, it's like a mother-in-law house. Okay, it's an 800 square foot or less home you can put on your property, and there's regulations and ways to, there's several ways to do it, but you're allowed to have a kitchen, you're allowed to have a separate rental unit. In the county, you can do that, but you can't put a kitchen in it. So you can't really use it as a rental, it's kind of silly. So it doesn't, if the county would adopt that ordinance, so everyone know what a mother-in-law or ohana, they know, in Hawaii they call them ohanas. And that's I mean, I don't see any reason why, there's no reason why every oversized lot in the Heights shouldn't have an ADU on it, or a tiny home, or some kind of a rental. I mean, there's oversized lots everywhere there, all through the Heights and above May Street, east and west. I mean, it makes no sense not to have the ability for people to do that, and the city could make it easier. There's ways they could make it easier and more palatable and affordable for people to put these on their property. Well, all solutions or all ideas should be used to help the town grow responsibly. ADUs, upzoning, PUDs, and infill. I'm going to show you a few of our projects to show you how some of these are. Let's see, what do I do here, Heather? Right here? Okay. So this is Mckinley Court. People may or may not have seen this, but this is 100-foot frontage, and it's 150-foot deep. And this, I can't remember how long ago I built this. It's one of my first PUDs, but it was the planning department kind of helped with the open space regulations on this one, requirements. And I've got, on a 100-foot wide lot by 150 deep, I've got 6 detached single-family homes. They're about 1,250 square foot a piece and 14 parking spots, all off the road. And that's, if you ever go by there, you can get out and walk down the courtyard. It's really, I'm very proud of that. I can't do that in today's, with the regulations that are in place today, but that was a great example of infill, in my opinion. Planned unit development. They allow, it's kind of a pain to try to get one through the whole process, but it allows for higher density. So that's what I was talking about on the west side. If you wanted to PUD everything out there, you'd have the same density as an upzoning process. So those lots are probably under 2,000 square foot lots that those houses are sitting on. Yeah, this isn't helping anything. Can you guys see any of that? Well, you can read about it then. Okay, that's Katie's Lane, 29 homes. Those are 2,600 square foot lots. This is east of the middle school. Probably people have probably seen that. Every house, we saved probably 75% of the trees, and every single house in there fronts a creek that we restored. It was a grown over blackberry patch, and we went in there and cleaned the creek out and redid it. It's a beautiful year-round creek. It's a really nice development. People got into those for a really good price. That's another picture of it, but you can't really see. This is a Hope development that was having some trouble, and Doug and I took this over, I can't remember how many years ago, but it was right when the recession was hitting, so we were really glad to be able to sell houses in there, and people got a good price. People got in for a good price. The Hope and the people that turned the property over to us worked with us pretty well on that. But those are, everybody probably knows this development. It's right on May Street between 30th, just west of 30th and on May Street. There you go. That's another one. That's Linda Maddox's house on the left. So, that kind of tells you what's going on there. And that's another view of it. I guess I live on May Street, so I drive by this every day, and I really like the way this turned out. I didn't develop this. I mean, I did all the building, but I didn't put the plan together for it. But I really like the way everything laid out in there, and it doesn't feel crowded. I mean, they're 2,500 square foot lots, but it feels like a nice little neighborhood. It's not what you'd think, with something that dense. And this is hard to see too. You can read what it is. So that's a Wilston Street, and then across the alley and back of this is Hull Street. And there are 2 teardowns that we took down. Jennifer Donnelly owned one of the pieces, but we took 2 houses out and replaced it with 8 houses. And again, it doesn't feel crowded either. I mean, the lots are bigger than they need to be in that area. And at the time, they probably sold for $1,000, who knows? But now, with the housing needs in this town, I don't see any reason not to revisit these lots. And that's, if you drive through that and look at them, I think you'll agree. And we saved the trees in the back on that too. It can be done fairly well. And again, these are affordable. We've got teachers living in here. We've got public employees, Parks and Rec employee in the back. And there's an access in the alley to the 2 houses in the back you can see. And we have single stories on the front. Yeah, this is a really nice project we did last winter. This is a 5,000 square foot lot that Rick Starrett, he's a local doctor, had us build off of Avalon. There's a little access off of Avalon, a little road right past Avalon Court. And that's I think it's a 1,700 square foot house and ADU rental that he rented to a nurse above a 2-car garage on a 5,000 square foot lot. That's what I mean when I say every property that can fit it in should have an ADU rental. There's no reason not to. But it's hard to do. It costs too much money. I think there's ways the city can help everyone that wants to do it, make it a little more affordable, and maybe more people will step up and decide to do it. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, next up we